Bienvenido a otro podcast con Winning with Ace. Y hoy tenemos a la más famosa, la mejor broker de Cape Coral. Yoselyn, ¿cómo tú te sientes?
Me siento bien, muchísimas gracias por esta oportunidad y sentarme aquí con ustedes, caballeros.
Gracias por venir.
Muchas gracias por venir, estamos muy agradecidos con que estés aquí hoy con nosotros. Y hoy vamos a estar haciéndote unas cuantas preguntas, queremos entrevistar y queremos que la audiencia sepa quién es Yoselyn, porque principalmente yo y Omar nos sentimos motivados por ti. Gracias a ti fue que nosotros empezamos, gracias a usted fue que hemos crecido en el real estate y bueno, queremos que la audiencia también se motive con esto.
Okay.
So, la primera pregunta de nosotros es bastante simple. La primera pregunta de nosotros es, what does winning mean for you? Like, ¿qué se siente ganar para ti? ¿Es familiar? ¿Es because of ¿sabes? Freedom? Or what is it?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, right? It's having that personal and professional balance between the two. But my biggest thing is to leave a lasting impression and a legacy for the next person. You know, if I can teach someone, if I can motivate, if I can inspire someone, and they, in turn, are my biggest testimonials, then
That's
that
almost
to
like
me
yours,
is
like you, the legacy and
Yeah, I like the
that
legacy.
sounds
I didn't work for the legacy.
yeah,
for
I
my
mean,
name.
dejar una huella, ¿verdad? Para el siguiente. Para mí eso es lo más importante.
Eso es lo que significa ganar. Está bien. Yoselyn, cuéntanos un poquito. ¿Cuándo empezaste real estate? ¿Fuiste agente? ¿Qué tiempo fuiste real estate agent? Cuéntanos tu trayectoria en real estate para que las personas sepan quién eres.
Me vas a envejecer, ¿verdad?
No.
Bueno, yo comencé real estate en Boston. Allá yo estaba con una compañía Century 21. Me dieron una oportunidad, tamaña jovencita, pero, ¿verdad? Digamos que unos 30 años,
¿Y
más o menos.
¿Eras agente de real estate?
No, yo, o sea, tengo la licencia, obviamente, porque uno necesita tener la licencia, pero yo nunca practiqué bienes raíces, nunca he vendido una casa.
¿Enseñaste casas?
Nunca he enseñado casas, nunca he estado en un cierre, o sea, yo no sé, si usted me dice a mí ahora, vamos a llenar ese contrato, yo no le puedo decir detalles ni le puedo decir, vea, aquí tiene que poner esto, no sé nada de eso. Cada persona, cada transacción que yo he cometido, personalmente he usado una persona para que me represente.
Wow.
Pero comencé mi carrera ya en Boston, donde tenía una oficina, Century 21, independiente, teníamos 7 oficinas. Cuando yo me fui después de unos cuantos años, teníamos ya 17. Entonces, wow. el desarrollo de esa oficina, mi mayor parte era atraer el talento para esa compañía. Y como le dije, en cuestión de unos cuantos añitos, crecimos de 7 a 17 oficinas.
¿En qué año más o menos fue eso?
Creo que fue en el 96 al 98, algo por ahí.
Wow,
Yeah.
Has visto todo, has visto una trayectoria de real estate, me imagino, por muchos años. Que eso era una de las otras preguntas que queríamos preguntarte. ¿Qué ha cambiado en real estate en los años 2000 al real estate moderno? La tecnología que tanto ha afectado real estate. ¿Qué cambios bruscos has visto en la industria a través de toda la experiencia que has tenido?
Bueno, ahorita mismo yo pienso que los compradores, los vendedores, los inversionistas tienen es que todo está al nivel del alcance de las manitas, ¿verdad? La tecnología ahorita mismo tiene todo disponible para el consumidor. Y anteriormente eran nosotros los que teníamos esa información. Usted quería buscar una casa, quería sentarse, quería que nosotros le mostráramos una casa. Usted tenía que venir a nuestra oficina y ahí teníamos un libro donde tenía todos los listings.
Wow,
todos los listings.
Ahora sí lo entra.
Sí, era.
ChatGPT te hace un CMA.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you had to go into the office and there was a binder where the office manager or the secretary would update it daily. So if anything went under contract, we took it from this binder, we put it into a different binder. And if people wanted to go and see the properties, they would have to come into the office to get the keys. There was no lock boxes. There was no Supras. There was none of that. So we maintained all of that information. And obviously over the course of, the last 20 something years, 30 years, technology has minimized the effectiveness of the real estate agent,
That makes
right?
sense.
Because
Yes,
everything right now.
I think the professionalism on real estate has come down. Even since I started like eight and a half years ago. I started real estate with you, and then back then, I don't think there was so many agents that we're seeing right now. And I think so many agents on this market right now are not professional enough.
Agreed.
So eso trae a mi next question. So my next question is, do you think they should change regulations o cambiar los fees o cambiar algo en el real estate para que se queden más profesionales o se debería mantener igual?
No, definitivamente tenemos que cambiar algo, porque si usted se imagina, ¿verdad? Nosotros estamos ayudando a un comprador o un vendedor con la venta o la compra de una casa, ¿verdad? Esa transacción son miles y miles de dólares. Y desafortunadamente, el entrenamiento que nosotros tenemos en esta industria es súper baja. $500 le da a usted una licencia. 63 horas le da a usted el entrenamiento supuestamente, ¿verdad? Para poder representar a esa persona. Es una locura.
Sí.
Es completamente una locura. Un peluquerío, un peluquero, un barber, lo que sea, un nail technician, tiene más entrenamiento, tiene años tras años, miles y miles de dólares para ese entrenamiento, ¿verdad? Y yo no le estoy diciendo que no valen la pena, ¿verdad? Pero imagínese, 63 horas a miles de horas con un barbero.
Y una persona que está lidiando con miles de dólares.
Miles y
es
miles
como
de
mínimo
dólares.
Deberían tener un associate degree, algún tipo de educación, algún tipo de preparamiento. Yo sí creo que necesita mucha educación.
Ese fuera un cambio. Yo siempre, mi instinto era como, ok, que suban más los MLS fees, que pongan unos fees que solo gente que quieran tomarse la carrera con 100%, tú sabes, profesionalmente, que no sea su part-time, que un muchacho acabado de graduarse de high school, su backup plan sea coger un real estate license. Para decirte la verdad, no es que me da pena, yo estoy muy orgulloso de mi carrera porque me siento successful en lo que hago, pero ha llegado al punto que me da un poquito de pena, tú sabes, presentarme como un real estate agent porque ya es muy simple serlo. Entonces,
I feel like these days we don't have realtors, we have TikTokers.
Oh,
So all they do, they're going for their like, they're going
for their likes and being influencers. Everybody wants to be an influencer.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. It's like kids in school. They don't want to go to school anymore because you don't need school pretty much for anything. You want to be a realtor and make money, you're looking up to someone, boom, go get you 63 hours, pay for $100, get your fingerprints.
And those are the same agents, unfortunately, charging 1% commission. That's another question we had. Do you allow people in your company to charge 1%? What do you think about the 1% listing?
The limited services?
Yeah.
I think it's a huge slap in the face for the true professionals. I truly believe that in the absence of value, money becomes a substitute. And I think that's what we're seeing pretty much across all of those. And those 1%ers, those limited services, is the lack of value. If you have no value, if you cannot negotiate a higher commission, something is going to substitute that. Whether it's the level of professionalism, whether it's the level of resources and tools. And let's face it, I mean, at the end of the day, you're handling the biggest transaction that a person will probably ever make in their lifetime. And if you can't negotiate to their betterment, then where is your value?
But I think that 1% came right after COVID with the new agents, and you always said it, right after COVID, even in Monkey saw real estate. And that's the truth. Right now, we're going back to pretty much when I started. When I started, I think it was a little bit busier than right now, but still, you have to actually work and bring your value. A lot of people are going to say that we're greedy because we charge more commission, and that's not the truth. It's because we have value. We're going to provide a service. We're going to protect you we're going to represent the transaction. We're going to help you with this, read the contract, have all this information. Not only that, list the house in multiple MLSs. Go out there and try to find a buyer for your sale.
I will never forget that when I first started, she was like, "Oh, guys, get excited, take your time, make the money," because even a monkey would sell real estate. And inside of me, I'm like, "Nah, this is not that easy. I have to write a contract. I have to take pictures. I have to put a sign. I mean, a monkey can do that." And now I understand why you said that, because all you had to do was list the house, take nice picture, take a couple selfies for Instagram, and the
And
house
boom.
would
Right.
sell.
Well,
You
there
don't
was
have
no-
to do anything.
Right, absolutely.
Now
There
you
was
have
no
to
skill.
Now
There was
you have to have
absolutely no
skills.
skill
You have to have a
involved.
plan. You have to have techniques to actually sell listings,
Yeah.
because either you list the property $50,000 under market value, or if you want to sell a property for that seller at market value, you're competing against thousands of other homes. So what are you going to do different to sell the house?
Right.
So-
And I think oftentimes the real culpable person, in my opinion, is, the broker, the manager, right? Because an agent will only follow what they could rationally dictate in terms of what their training is, right? So if the broker doesn't stand firm and say, here, represent your value, people are hiring you for your expertise, your knowledge, your experience. And that's what you're being paid for. It's not the aerial views, it's not the drones, it's not the fancy stuff. It's the customer is paying you for your experience and your negotiating skills. And if you don't have either one of them, then of course you're going to reduce your commission. And I think oftentimes as a brand new agent, as an example, you look to your leader, you look to your broker, you look to your manager for that guidance. And if that broker doesn't have it, well, then how can they teach?
Yeah, it's like you, for example, me as a seller. If this agent doesn't negotiate my commission with me, why would I want you? You're not gonna negotiate a good
Exactly.
contract.
Well-
if you're like, I'm gonna pay you 1% and you say yes automatically, I don't want you as my
Right.
agent. I want
Think
you to
about it this
negotiate.
way,
with me.
right? We're handling probably the biggest transaction that anybody will ever have to make in their lifetime, right? So let's just put it into a perspective. Let's say that you need brain surgery, right? And you go and you find a brain surgeon. You ChatGPT it or you Google it or whatever. You find the brain surgeon. You go in there and you say, okay, I've got a tumor in my brain and I need you to take it out, but I only want to pay you $1,000.
$1,000. Oh God,
What do you think
don't
that
do
brain
that.
surgeon is
Yeah.
going to say?
He's gonna open it, your head with a machete.
Yeah.
Right? No, absolutely not. Why not? What is the difference between that brain surgeon doing brain surgery to you representing a seller or a buyer in the largest transaction that they'll ever have to make?
Yeah. That
Yeah,
makes
that
1,000.
makes
Right?
sense. That makes
It-
sense.
it
Yeah,
makes
when you
sense.
put it like that, it's like
It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's like finding a lawyer. You don't want the cheap one. You want someone that knows what they're doing.
You
that
want
has
the proven
experience.
track record.
Proven track
But
record.
that attorney, that doctor is going to sit there and they're going to show you the value. Why do you want to hire me to commit brain surgery for you,
Yeah.
right? To conduct brain surgery. Why are you hiring me to create your life estate as an attorney? Why are you hiring me as a wealth manager, as a portfolio manager? Because I'm good and because I'm going to make you money. I'm going to cure you. I'm going to do so. In the absence of value, money becomes a substitute.
Yeah.
And as a real estate agent, if you can't portray and illustrate that value that you bring to the negotiation, because let's face it, a monkey could theoretically take pictures.
If I put the sign for the monkey, they would have sold
Right?
it.
You could train a monkey to
That
go and
was-
put the sign on the
it was
property.
just
You
crazy.
could train a monkey to take pictures, but you can't train a monkey to negotiate. And that's where the real value is. And that's what we bring in.
And I think even AI won't be able
No.
to negotiate to the certain level of
No, they would negotiate and they would do whatever, but you protecting your client. You know what your client wants. Let's be honest. When you have a seller, you know what they want to take from the home. Now, what's your job? To make more money than what they want. Why? Because you're gonna get your reputation, and it's not even about your pocket. I know we all work for money. We all agree, right? That we all work for money. We're here to negotiate.
Wait, I got into this business because I like people.
Oh yeah, right.
Stop it.
Yeah, right.
Jocelyn, I have a kind of a personal question that I just thought about it, because I'm like, oh my God, she was our broker, and now Andy's also a broker. Like, ¿cómo tú te sientes que hay muchas personas que ahora son brokers y successful como Andy, que aprendieron de ti, que empezaron contigo y han crecido ahora y tú los ves y dices, wow, es como, tú sabes, mi hijo,
She wanted to fire me. Ella me quería votar.
¿Cómo tú te sientes cuando ves a alguien así que salió de tu compañía, que prácticamente aprendimos
Como
ahí?
tus hijos.
Sí,
Tus
somos-
hijos, tus
sí,
little
sí,
babies.
sí. Obviamente muy orgullosa,
Sí.
¿verdad? Porque ahí están mis huellas. Yo siempre le he dicho a las personas que han trabajado conmigo o que me han dicho, I want to be just like you. No, you don't. I want you to be better than me because you can do better than me. I want you to, because that's the true legacy. That's the true testimony. That's the true, imprint that you made in this industry, right? I look at you guys and others that have, bittersweet, right? Because when you're getting ready to leave me, it's like, Oh, no,
It was sad.
That
Nobody
was
wanted to
hard.
talk to you.
That
That was the hardest time of my life.
It's hard. It's so
It's the hardest
like, it
decision.
I have a
hurts.
secret. I have a
Right.
secret to confess, but now you're saying it. Oh, I would always tell Andy as a joke, I mean, like, la única mujer que me pone muy nervioso es Yoselyn.
Yeah. So
Because
when
every
we left, nobody wanted to
No,
talk to
like,
you.
no, you
Everybody,
go.
no, you go. You go.
No,
You
you
talk to
call her. No, you call her. I mean, it's hard, right? Because it's time, it's energy, it's a lot of
investment. You invested
right?
in all of us, and I
But-
see that more as a broker right now. Remember when you were trying to fire me because I was not producing? It was my second job, part time, straight out of college, and then I wasn't producing. And tell them what you.
Oh
what you
my
did to me.
God, yeah. I always and again, there are certain stories that just stay with me, right? And you were one of them because I remember looking at the numbers for the office, right? Because I think as a broker owner, you have to take a look at what's happening, where could you change, what are some mitigating losses that you could prevent. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, okay, Andy, he's brand new. So we give you a little bit of grace, right? But after a certain amount of time, it was like he's just not doing anything. So I remember calling you into my office with the intent of firing you. And I was like, he's got to go. I mean, you're cute. You have a great accent, but you got to
gotta go, buddy.
You got to go, right? I mean, I'm not in this business just to accumulate bodies in the office, right? I want producing agents. And yeah, I came in and I was like, hey, listen, I'm gonna put you on a 90-day probation period. You either shit or get off the pot. I mean, that's the conversation that we had. And I'm so thankful and grateful that I did do that.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because
that actually helped you to
Of course, because
fuel the
remember,
fire under his ass.
So I was making for my age. I was like 20 years old, I think, or 21, and then I was making at T-Mobile $70,000 a year, which it wasn't bad. It's not better than what I made in real estate, but it was pretty good for my age,
back then
and it was
also,
paying my
yeah.
bills, and back then it was pretty good. So Yoselyn had that conversation with me, and it impacted me. And she also told me, I feel like you have talent, or I see you that you have potential, but if you're not exploiting your potential, I don't want you here. You gotta go, buddy. And I'll say, Joss, what I want to do, I want to quit for December because December is the best month of T-Mobile. I'm gonna make all the money I can, and I'm gonna have enough money to pay for my bills 3 months. And I'm gonna focus on real estate 100%. And I did it, and that's the best
when you
decision
boomed,
I ever
yeah,
took in my
that's-
life.
That's when you boomed.
And that's the same thing I did to you, and then that's the same thing I did to a bunch of my agents. I was like, you gotta do it. You gotta do it full time. Because I wanted to get into this too. A lot of people see us on social media. They're like, oh, the cars, the lifestyle. We were just talking about that. Like people see you, how you dress, your shoes, the branding, blah, 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 the story. But they don't see the amount of hours that we actually have to work to be able to have this lifestyle. Yeah. So a lot of people think that I'm just gonna become a real estate agent because it's easy. It's not easy. You see how many, the amount of hours, the problems we have, because every single deal is a difficult deal.
Well, becoming a realtor, we just said it. It's easy. Selling homes and getting clients, that's the hard part. Staying consistent is what
that's
I
the
feel.
Key word. Right. That's the
what I
key
feel
word.
is really
because you get
hard.
motivated. We always talk about this on the podcast.
You could sell 2-3
You get
homes in a
motivated.
month, and then what are you gonna do next month?
And if you go on vacation for a month, you're not gonna work that month. So in 60 days, you're not gonna get paid.
Right. Well, it's that dreaded roller coaster, right? I mean, I've always said that real estate is very simple. It's not rocket science, it's not brain surgery, right? But it's not easy. And there's a fundamental difference between both words. Simple and easy are two very vastly different words, right? It's simple. Do the work consistently, pick up your dang phone, put your client's needs, as long as it's, ethic, moral, and legal, above your own, service above self, create good, lasting relationships. Because at the end of the day, people don't refer people, they refer results. Yep. And if you provide a great level of service and an experience like no other, they will continue to refer people to you. And as long as you do that, unfortunately, it's like you said, the lifestyle that we showcase, right? The fancy cars, the nice watches, the red bottom shoes, or whatever the case may be. People think it's just, I'm just going to show up and put a sign on the property, and I'm gonna make $1 million.
And that happens to young people. They get out of high school
Social
and they're
media.
like, I'm gonna become a millionaire. I don't know.
Yeah.
In a year from now, I'm getting my license, and it's not that easy.
I remember coaching with several people, and age to a certain degree matters, but it doesn't necessarily matter. But I remember this one particular young woman. She had just gotten her real estate license, so she was relatively new, and she came into my office and we sat down and I was, asking her questions. I wanted to understand, why did you want to get into real estate? And she said two things: the flexibility. And I'm like,
good luck.
Real estate is anything but flexible, right?
Yep.
It's anything but flexible, especially in today's age when everybody wants that rapid, quick response.
Yeah.
And that's why picking up your phone, those little basic things can really make a huge difference, right? And I remember sitting down with her and continuing asking her questions. And she's like, I said, well, what's your income goal? I want to make $100,000. And I looked at her and I said, by when? And she's like, this first year. I was like, okay, what are you willing to sacrifice for that $100,000? And she just looked at me and she was like, what do you mean? I was like, you said one thing, that real estate is flexible. Let me hear it. It's anything but flexible. Now you come back and say you want to make $100,000. What are you willing to sacrifice for that $100,000?
You have to give up on something, yeah.
Because it's not that easy.
You get a phone call on Sundays.
The first thing you have to understand is that you're showing homes to people that work Monday through Friday. So when are they available to see homes?
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday. So
and Sunday you want to be with the family. And it's the hours, the amount of hours. And then you've been working the whole week prospecting, doing this, doing that. On Saturday and Sunday you got to show houses.
Jocelyn, I don't know if you got your crystal ball, but I wanted to ask you, what is your thought about the Cape Coral, Lee County market? What is your prediction?
In the next 5 years.
Yeah. What do you think about everything that is going on, the way the rates are, the way that, the market has corrected itself a little bit? So
let's also go deeper. The taxes went up here. Let's talk about the flood insurances. Let's talk about everything.
Talk about the market in general, because if I want to hear the opinion of someone, it will be yours.
Well, thank you.
That's
God, the pressure is now really, really high. Okay, so I think as far as Lee County is concerned, I think we are a destination area, right? We have great waterways, we have a great lifestyle, we have great climate. So I don't think any of that is going to go away. And even though taxes did go up and flood insurance, and we have all of these other circumstances and situations that affected local real estate market, I think overall, Cape Coral, Lee County, Fort Myers, and the surrounding areas, we're still a whole lot better than other parts of the country. So I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. You look at, what's going to happen over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. And I study the market probably a whole lot more than most people do, right? I mean, I'm a numbers, I'm a stats geek. So I look at what are some of the trends, what are some of the projections that I'm seeing based on past data. And and historical data, right? I look at the next 3 to 5 years as really pivotal moment, right? I think that 2025, maybe even 2026, we're going to hit absolute bottom. And then I think what's going to happen over the course of the next several years, 27, 28 and beyond, is we're going to see an increase and a start of a rise. If we don't already see it in 26, we're definitely going to see it by 27. Why do I say that? Because historically speaking, after an election year, regardless of who is at the White House, right, whether it's Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, an election year brings a lot of uncertainty. Consumer confidence usually starts to dip a little bit. And then we start to see after an election year, things start moving in the right direction. And by right, I mean, usually it starts moving in an upward trajectory. And I don't think that this year is going to be any differently, because it's a historical pattern that we've seen over the course of the last 20, 30, 40 years, right? So I think that we're not going to see anything really moving in the opposite direction. And then you have to look at when we hit absolute rock bottom. The last time we hit rock bottom was in December of 2010. And if you look at December of 2010, most of our surrounding areas had the lowest single-family home prices and sales in the entire area previous to the previous upcycle. So when you look at that and you look at the trends and the projections, we had from 2010 to pretty much 2022 of a consistent rise in just about values, appreciation, sales, the whole 9 yards. And you look at any life cycle, every upward cycle is 1.5 to 2 times longer than the previous cycle. So why do I say that? Because if 2025 or 2026 is our absolute bottom, then the trajectory is on its way up.
27, 28, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Like 2-3% growth a year after like 2027?
I think a 3 to 5% appreciation annually is sustainable. I think it's realistic. I think it's healthy for the market. I think that when you take a look at double-digit appreciation like we saw from 2020 to 2022, that's unsustainable. And quite honestly, in my lifetime, I never want to see that again. Because it grew in such an inflated way that that momentum could not keep up. We had to crash.
That's what
I'm not saying
now.
right. It's an adjustment, right? And I think oftentimes especially over the course of the last couple of years, a lot of people are like, our market is crashing. Our market is not crashing. And correct. I want to be absolutely clear with that, happening. Right? It's not crashing. We have not crashed. We're not crashing. We're not headed into a crash. What we have been doing is shifting and correcting. When you have 2020 and 2021 prices that escalated 20, 30, 40, 50%, that was inflated. That was unrealistic. And basically what we have right now is just an adjustment.
No, I think the prices we have right now make sense. Like at least for K-Core, this is the prices we should have.
No. Inflation, for the last 2-3 months has been going very slowly up, and they're planning on bringing the rates down. So you don't think that could cause another inflation, like to rapidly, to increase the inflation a little? No, you don't see. No. You think the rates will actually go down in the next year and a half or?
I think that everybody talks about the interest rates, right? I don't think that interest rate plays such a major role anymore in the consumer psyche.
Unemployment does. That's the only thing that lowers the inflation. Unemployment.
Yeah, and so Andy, you had said earlier about taxes and flood insurance and stuff, right? I think that the shock of the interest rates rise in the last several years, that sticker shock is over. I don't think consumers are really influenced all that much. I think that the 6%, 7%, 5 to 7% is pretty much like, okay, this is the new standard, right? So I don't think that plays such a role in the psyche and the mindset of the consumer, because let's face it, it doesn't matter if the interest rates are 18%, you still need housing. So if the desire and the need is there for you to have housing, it really truly does not matter. Will it eliminate a lot of people from being able to have that buying power? Most definitely, right? I'm not minimizing that as a real thing for consumers, but I think that the sticker shock of the interest rates have gone down. I think that if the interest rates continue to come down, I think once they get to that 5% mark, you're going to see an influx of people getting off the fence and going back into the market. And I caution that, and I'm worried about that, because then you have a huge influx of buyers coming into the market. And then what happened the last time that interest rates started to dip down again? What happens to prices?
It went up. And then we don't want that at least here.
We want that 3 to 5%, 5 to 8% appreciation. And I think that is very doable, right? Unfortunately, we saw what happened in 2020 to 2021. Interest rates were down, prices escalated, and unfortunately, the buying power was reduced because people were just waiting. Because remember, 2020, the market was crashing, the world was coming to an end, everything was happening. Buyers don't want to buy, sellers don't want to sell, and then the complete opposite happened, right? So I'm I'm optimistic about 26 and 27 and the years that come, but I'm also very concerned that the higher beings don't just drastically, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so.
But I caution that mindset of, okay, the interest rates are starting to come down, everybody's going to jump on. So it's almost like that well-balanced, orchestrated dance needs to happen in order for everything to move in the right direction. Slowly aligning.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. But even if they drop the interest rate right now to 5% or $4.99, let's say, not a lot of people are going to buy. People are still scared with the elections. They're still scared of immigration, everything that's happening with the world right now. So I think it's a good thing we have right now that the prices have come down. Like at least K-Quarter, we needed these prices.
Yeah.
They were not realistic 2 years ago, year and a half ago. They were not.
No. It was the growth. It was people were buying a house, holding it for 6 months, and making 100,000.
Right. And I look at 2020 to 2022 to part of 2022. Those were anomaly years, right? That hopefully in my lifetime I'll never see that again. But if you look at the last year where we saw nice appreciation, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Those are normal real estate years. And if we compare 25, right, 24 and 25 to 17, 18, and 19, the appreciation is there between that 3 and 5%. You have to completely remove those anomaly years, those unicorn years, right, from the equation. And you realize that prices are moderating in the right direction. Prices didn't come down. They're not falling. But if you compare them to those anomaly years, those unicorns, yeah, of course they're going to fall. But if you compare it to the last normal cycle,
we're still good.
If you raise COVID under 2%,
they're fantastic.
Joss, I wanted to ask you a question. As a broker, what should agents look for? Like, ¿qué necesitan los agentes mirar a un broker? Why? Because with you, I know what I looked at. First, the motivation, the life coach, because pretty much you coached us on everything. The knowledge of the market, because you knew more than anybody that I know of the market. And not only that, the hustle, the hunger, the idea, the strategies that you teach us. And then that helped me on my business. Now, I feel like new agents, they're going for 100% companies, and then they're not getting anything. So what should a new agent look for on a broker?
So I go back to, in the absence of value, money becomes a substitute, right? Those offices, those companies that are offering 100%, they have nothing of value to show. That's why they have to give up the majority of their commission or all of their commission. As a brand new agent, I think that the biggest thing that they should look for is support, coaching, development. Right? And I think that if the agent looks at a brokerage and considers those three things, the support, the coaching, and the development, everything else comes in time. Right? And unfortunately, or fortunately for me, in my office, that's exactly what I offer. Right? You can come into my office today and say, hey, Yoselyn, I'm a brand new agent, or I'm a seasoned agent or whatever, and I want 100%. Well, great, I do too, but that's not going to happen, right? Yep. So no. But I can articulate what value I bring, right? I have a proven track record. I have a dominant presence in the marketplace. I have experience in coaching and development. I have all of the tools and resources available to help an agent in no matter what part of their career they're at, to elevate them and to help them increase their business. And I'm there to support them. And like you started with me, you came with me, I groomed you, and you guys went off on your own, and you're continuously successful. And now the legacy is you're creating a business, you're creating a team. That I look back and I'm like, I couldn't be more proud. Yeah. And I would want you to continue with that same, level of experience that you had with me. Is okay, what are your non-negotiables? What do you bring to the table as a broker owner? Right? What are the things that you bring as a team leader? Not only to your office, but also to the clients that you serve, the colleagues that you're and the
people out there, the way they see us.
Most definitely.
I didn't feel before. We were younger. We growing up by the day. Yeah. I didn't feel like I needed coaching until now. What you gave us on Remax Realty team, I didn't feel like I needed it. I was more of a hustler, hungry. I wanted to eat the world, and now I feel like we need more coaching. Why? Because there's somebody else's that they're seeing something, and now that coaching can help me coach my agents.
At one point in time, I had 3 business coaches. Each one of them teaching me and showing me something different. Coaching should never cease.
That's crazy.
As long as you're in the business, you should always have a coach that you can align yourself with. And let me put it to you into this type of perspective, right? The best athletes have coaches.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why do they spend and invest? And it's one of those things where, I don't want to spend money on a coach. I know how to do everything. Okay? It's not a cost. It's an investment. It's an investment that you take on to help and master your craft continuously. Because let's face it, in any business, regardless of whether it's sports or real estate, you're never going to know everything. There's always little strategies that you can learn and tweak and change and shift, right? So you want to have that accountability from a coach's perspective that will help you just push those boundaries further and further, because there is no ceiling. And again, I always equate it back to the professional sports. Why do Michael Jordan and Tom Brady and
the best of the best,
the goats of their sports? Why do they always have coaches? Why? Dribble the ball or the quarterback?
Someone on top of you and then give you different perspectives, strategies,
Absolutely.
ideas. And someone that coaches or more than that.
They see what you can't see. They
see your full potential that you do not see. And not only that, remember, they talk to you, but they talk to 10, 15 different athletes or agents or anything like that. So they see different strategies that might work for you, and then your strategies might work for somebody else. So it's a lot of...
I think as long as I'm in the business, I will always have a coach. I've been in the business now for many years. Right? I've been in the business for many years. Shut up.
The first thing we mentioned,
right? Yeah, I mean, and I think that it's super important, and people will look at me and be like, what can I teach Yoselyn? A lot. I could learn from you just as much as I'm hoping that you can learn from me, right? A brand new person brings a different element, a different perspective to the business. And sometimes it's, hey, I can learn from, from a kid who just got into the real estate business, yesterday. Why couldn't I learn from that? And I think that, oftentimes what happens as we continue to grow in our respective fields is we stop learning.
That's what happens.
When you stop learning, I think that's when you start dying, and that's when you become a dying brand. And I'm not ready to give it up. I mean, I believe me, there are days and there are times when I'm like, okay,
you want to quit? You're like, I'm
done. But then it's moments such as this one where I have someone like yourselves that say, hey, you know what? My love.
Can you come to my podcast, please?
My love, can you do my podcast, right? And it's like, wow.
And honestly, to be completely honest, just by listening to you, I kind of get motivated because hearing it from you that sometimes you feel like us and that you keep learning and things like that, because now I'm like, who the heck is teaching Yoselyn? Who's coaching Yoselyn? Because in my eyes, you don't need coaching. Like it's like
I think I need coaching more now than I did before, right?
And you just said something that kind of hit me, that when you stop learning, it's
you start dying.
You start dying, and that kind of hit me because not that I feel that I haven't learned anything, but it's we just need
It's because of the market we were living in. It was easy. People were coming to you. Now you have to go to people, and then now you have to do things that you're not used to doing anymore.
It's always, it's always strategizing. It's always being forward thinking, right? There's so much right now, so much noise everywhere that deciphering what to listen to, what to follow, what to do, what not to do. There's, again, I've been in this business for a really long time, but I have my business coach. I go to conferences, I go to meetings. I don't have to do any of that, but I'll tell you what, I seek that, I thrive on that, because if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
Yep.
So when I go and I invest in my development, I go and I seek out those people that are doing more than I am, that are doing better than I am. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're, older than I am. It could be you, it could be you, it could be you. If I'm in that room, I can learn something from you. And I think that that's oftentimes what most people lose sight of. It's, I've been there, I've done that, I have the t-shirt, I don't need it. Oh, now is when you need it more, because your perspective changes over time. And when your perspectives change over time based on your experiences, based on your battles or your triumphs or your successes, okay, now I'm going to implement this.
Yeah, and you're gonna get better by the day.
Most
And your
definitely.
agents will, and everybody.
Absolutely.
Well, so today we usually drink alcohol, but today was great having you here. We drank some coffee.
Cafecito.
That's a different. Well, we're on a diet now, so we're not drinking for 60 days.
Oh,
60
nice.
days.
60
Okay.
days. This is such a long
I'm
time.
Tony.
But just thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you having you in my life, and not only on my podcast. I know I can count on you always.
Always.
Whenever we have a question, we call you. You can count with us. And then thank you again.
Thank you very
It
much
is
for
my
coming.
pleasure. Thank you so
Give
much.
me a hug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.